Unleaks just gave us our first unofficial look at the iPhone SE2 or iPhone 9. No one's really exactly sure what this thing's going to be called. I doubt it'll be called 9. Usually, if you're releasing 10s and 11s, you don't want to go backwards with the 9, so they'll probably just call it the new SE, but I could be wrong. And it's not a surprise, it's not a shock, it is filling in that assumption we made many, many months ago by previous reports that the next generation SE is not supposed to be a redesign, because the last generation SE was also not a redesign. The point is to update an older design with more modern specs and then sell it at a lower price point for those who don't really care about having the best looking phone and just want something that's going to work, not break the bank, and still get years of support. And that's exactly what we're getting with it, but OnLeaks gave us a few more details about it that I want to dive into now. Alright, so first, design is traditional, no shock there. It does look a lot like an iPhone 8 with a few little differences. For one, OnLeaks is saying it's actually going to have a frosted glass back, which I am sort of surprised by, because before, the frosted glass was one of those features we used to separate, you know, the rich boys from the broke ones, because only the Pro OLED iPhones got the frosted glass, whereas if you wanted the cheaper iPhone 11, you had to stick with your fingerprint smudged glass backs. You're trying to save money, you idiot. Whereas this is going to have frosted glass, which I don't know, maybe it's because Apple saw a lot of people preferred the frosted glass and perhaps it's not too much more to manufacture. I figured it was more expensive or something because they wanted to reserve it for the OLED iPhones, but maybe it's not. Maybe they just released both and then see if people like the frosted glass, and if they do, then be like, okay, yeah, we'll just keep doing that on all our phones. So maybe all the iPhones in 2020 will have frosted glass? I don't know. I'm fine with it. I like it. At first, I was a little worried about scratches, but I haven't had any scratch issues with the matte finish on the back of my iPhone, and there's no fingerprints, which I'm also a big fan of. So yeah, frost all the things, I don't care. The other small detail OnLeaks gave us is that this iPhone is actually going to be slightly thicker than the iPhone 8 in order to support a larger battery life, which is good. I think people in the lower price market for iPhones probably do care about how long the battery life is, and it's also going to help that this thing is rocking the A13 chip, which is very good at power efficiency, so it's not necessarily just about having the best CPU and GPU performance. They want to make sure that even though this thing is a smaller 4.7-inch iPhone, it's still going to be rocking an all-day battery life. Likely not going to be anywhere near as good as the 11 Pro, 11 Pro Max, or even the 11, but decent for a $400 iPhone. The other detail we got from this leak was that the camera is supposed to also be upgraded from that previous iPhone 8 as well, which was a big deciding factor for me. Not that I'm in the market. I am rich, so I can afford to keep buying the Pro Max in solid gold, but one big concern I had with this next generation SE was, are they just going to throw in the same camera that the iPhone 8 has, or are they going to up it a little bit? And OnLeaks in this report is saying that Apple's going to be using AI and machine learning for improved camera performance on this iPhone as well, which what I personally think that means is even though this is a single lens iPhone, it's going to be using the same tech that the iPhone XR had on the inside, given a lot of us in the past were confused as to why the XR got all these portrait mode features, but they didn't bring a lot of those cool XR photography and videography options to previous generation iPhones that only had one lens. Apple's argument with that was, well, you know, in order to do that portrait mode stuff correctly and in real time, we want you to have the latest CPU, which at the time of the XR was the A12 chip. Now that this iPhone SE2 or whatever is coming out, it's going to have the A13 chip, which means that it can make that portrait mode stuff happen, even though it doesn't have extra lenses for mapping data and that sort of thing. It doesn't need it, you know? Its CPU is powerful enough that it can render all that in real time, allow you to take portrait mode pictures, and I'm really hoping for night mode shots as well. The fact that you'll be able to do long exposures. Currently, you can only do those on a single lens on the iPhone in the first place, so it makes sense to me that they would also bring that to the SE2. That would be a huge slap in the face to the Pixel 3a, who kept trying to brag about, hey, we're affordable, but we can do night photography. This is Apple's basically direct response to that. No, it's not the prettiest or most exciting iPhone in the world, but to those demographics that can only pay, you know, $400 for an iPhone, this should definitely get you excited. A little concern, little disagreements I may have is that in these concepts and renders, he gave it the stainless steel chassis. I don't know why he thinks that the outside of the budget iPhone is going to be so polished and like a mirror finish like it is on the 11 Pro series. Like, if this is a budget phone, it's more than likely going to have an aluminum edge, not a polished one, especially if the focus here is to save money. So sad news about it is that it won't be rocking 3D touch like the iPhone 8, but it's going to be $50 cheaper than the iPhone 8 is currently. So I think most people will be happy with the changes. Haven't really heard much news if they're going to be adding much to the front-facing camera. I don't know if they're going to update that to be the same as these, where you can have 4K at 60 on the front-facing as well. But Apple knows we care about slow-fees, so who knows? Maybe they will add updated cameras to the front and back. And yes, I agree, it is very, very bizarre to see a 2020 iPhone with a fingerprint reader, a home button, and those big fat bezels. But just keep in mind, there are people out there, people maybe outside the tech community, who just don't care what the iPhone looks like. They just want it to work, take some good pictures and videos, last them throughout the day, and they're gonna hold on to this thing for easily 5 to 6 years. There's a market of people that care about that. If you do care about the aesthetics and having a good OLED display and minimal bezels and stuff, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to wait till later in the year. That stuff is coming. Apple's cooking it up. Tim Cook's checking his cookbook, but he's hurt deep inside because of Ricky Gervais roasts on him. But Apple will eventually get there, okay? The reason this iPhone is coming out in March is because it's not the flagship, you know? It's just intended to be budget-friendly and simple. Let me know what you guys think of the 2020 iPhone SE. Is this the direction you wanted Apple to go in, or is this disappointing you like the Disney Star Wars films? Feel free to hit me up over on Twitter or join our Discord, and we can talk more about the Disney Star Wars failure over there. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you in the next one.